Welcome to another episode of Chat It Up. We got the dynamic duo in the house, man. My man, back from the lovely streets of Daytona Beach, Florida. Joseph Guthrie is in the house. Jay, what's up, baby? Welcome back, man.
What's up, brother? How you been, man? How
I've
how
been,
was the hiatus week?
oh my god, a bye week is good, man. Sometimes you gotta take a little ice bath.
Yeah.
You gotta heal up. We've been playing, we've been balling, and it was good. It was restful. It was relaxful, but I'm ready to get back, and it's good to see you. How was Daytona, bro?
Oh, it was awesome, dude. It was. I needed that so bad. We're normally like a once a year, maybe twice a year, like beach vacation family. And last year I missed it because I took a camping trip to Colorado, which I don't regret. I do not regret. But last year I missed it, and it's been I think it was a little over a year since my
Yeah,
last like vacation from work.
yeah.
Like I'd taken a day off here and there, but like a true full vacation, it had been a little over a year, and I needed it, dude. I needed it so bad. So it was fun. Had a lot of sun. Had a lot of drinks. Um, but then made sure my nieces had a good time at Universal. It was their first trip there. They loved
Oh,
it. They weren't tall enough to ride like some of the roller coasters they wanted to ride,
for sure.
but the fact that they had excitement in wanting to do that means that as they get a little bit older, we can take them back and be
Yeah.
like, we can introduce them to like true roller coasters. So that was fun. Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was a good reset. It's good, but it's good to be back.
I'm glad to have you back, man. We all are, and it's gonna be a nice little episode. Of course, this episode is gonna be brought to you by our lovely sponsors, Bears Cabinet.
You good?
I'm great, man. Sorry, I saw something pop across my screen.
Okay.
This segment is sponsored by Bears Cabinet Refinishing as well as Steel City Brands, and I wanted to just give them a shout out, man, to both Steel City as well as Bears. Um, I was seeing their website. You were just talking about it. How just amazing the overall just refinishing is and just the products that they're using. So please, y'all show them some love if you're in the Chattanooga or surrounding areas looking to do some work specifically in your home. And then also, Steel City Brands. I don't know if you're into this guy, but there's a guy who is unfortunately no longer with us. But he was my favorite rapper for a very long time. He still is. He goes by the name of Mac Miller, representing Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And yesterday, believe it or not, the Pittsburgh Pirates had a Mac Miller bobblehead day,
Oh, dude.
and they sold out. Like it was like a pandemic. Like everybody was out there. Like it was crazy. So the Steel City holding it down. We appreciate Steel City Brands for what they do for Chatted Up Sports as well as Bear. So I had to get the ads out real quick, man.
Yeah, yeah. Got to show some love.
Got to show some love, and we're going to show some love to a lot of teams, man. We're going to go through our most pivotal matchups of each SEC team. I know we did our SEC preview, so we're going to look at some matchups, and we're going to stay in the state of Tennessee, and we're going to talk through uh, a team on the west side of the state, and potentially making a big move, but not making a big move. So it's a lot in store. Joseph, are you ready for some theme music or are we going straight into it, bro?
Oh, bro, I am ready, baby. You want to get
All
it?
right, let's get it. Joseph, give me that theme music, big dog. And how fitting is it for us to be back when there is 4 minutes and 23 seconds into the show? Because we do it for the 423. It's another episode of Chat It Up again. Malcolm Harris and Joseph Guthrie. Looking at the lineup, y'all, we are just a month out for college football season taking shape. I know I'm excited. I was just telling Jay off air, man. I'm like itching. This is the dead season of sports, right? Because of course we love the WNBA. You know, you got Wimbledon and these different type of events, some baseball happening, but it's not really just scratching that itch. And football's in the way, and Jay, I couldn't be happier, bro.
Oh man, week one, dude. Week one is getting served up on a silver platter. Like Florida State and Alabama, Tennessee and Syracuse, Georgia Tech at Colorado. That's not a matchup I thought I'd be excited about, but I actually, as we closer we get, the more I get excited about watching it. Auburn and Baylor, Notre Dame and Miami. Like we're starting week one, jumping out of the gate, and I am trying not to think about it because the more I think about it, the longer it's going to take to get here.
Man, you didn't even talk the big matchups, and we're gonna get into it right now because week one, we're gonna go through each real. I would just say not necessarily each week, but let's just go through each team in the SEC and the biggest matchup that you think based off of the way the season starts. And I know we started from worst to first in our heads. So let's start from first to worst, and we're going to kick it off with the notorious SEC power, the Alabama Crimson Tide. All right. They have a pretty jam packed schedule this year.
Mm-hmm.
What is obviously to you the game that, if you're an Alabama faithful, if you are truly a diehard Crimson Tide fan, what's the game that you have circled in red Sharpie right now if you're the Alabama Crimson Tide?
Oh man. So looking through Alabama's schedule, there were a couple that stuck out to me. Obviously, the opener against Florida State is a big game, and then your game after the bye week against LSU is also like it's always huge. But Alabama's been really good at openers, and I'm kind
Yeah,
of skeptical about Florida State. They've kind of owned LSU recently, minus the 2019 year. So I went with the Georgia game for Alabama as probably one of their most pivotal games. You're coming out of a bye week. You're on the road. I know they're playing Florida State at Florida State early, but you're on the road at Georgia. They're going to be really, really hyped up for that game in Athens because of the way those games have played out recently. That's going to feel like a must-have game for Georgia. May not feel that same way for Alabama, but if you can snag that game, if you're an Alabama fan, you feel on top of the world going into the rest of your SEC slate because that is your SEC opener is
yeah.
at Georgia in Athens. If you follow that up with Vandy at Missouri, Tennessee at home, you get South Carolina on the road. But if you can kick off your SEC schedule with a win, I think that's monumental for Kalen DeBoer and for Ty Simpson and his confidence as a first-year starter. So I circled the Georgia game for Alabama as one of their most pivotal game this year.
I love that pick, and yeah, I want to double down on that. I mean, I think that that is the one of the biggest games of the year, right? When it comes to college football, and specifically the SEC conference. But I was bullish on them last show, and I'm going to say it again. That out South Carolina game is really going to be almost a college football playoff decider. I think that that's going to really separate what's going to happen and if one of those teams is going to get in or not. Because I'm looking at the lay of the land of the schedule and how it goes. It's at Georgia, Vandy, at Mizzou, Tennessee, and at South Carolina. Tennessee is going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight. Yeah, they're probably going to win, but Tennessee's just not going to lay down by any means. So I think that you're going at South Carolina at night. South Carolina is notorious for being weird. I think they pull one. So give me at South Carolina for that game. And I know you just mentioned the Georgia game, which is going to transition us into Georgia. Looking at the schedule, I know you've studied it backwards and forwards, left and right. I want you to just educate the people. What's up?
Oh man,
Where are we going right now, man?
dude, I've toyed with this schedule about because my initial thought was okay, it's Alabama, and it's the reason is because you're 1-6 versus Alabama. You're getting them at home. You have a bye week before, like that's got to be it, right? But then I was thinking about like, okay, well, if you lose that game, then it's just kind of holding the status quo. It's like, okay, well, Kirby just has an issue with Alabama. That's
Yeah,
but then you got to go at Auburn in what could be a resurging year for Auburn. And that game's tough when you're playing at Jordan Hare. So I kind of toyed with well, okay, if you lose the Alabama game, that Auburn game becomes really, really pivotal. And then I thought, okay, well, you've also got the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, which, regardless of how good Florida or Georgia is,
Yeah,
big game for those fan bases.
for
In
sure.
retrospect, you do not want to lose that game. And I thought, okay, well, say you lose the Alabama game, you manage to sneak past Auburn, you got this Florida game coming out of the bye. Florida's supposed to be much better this year. Like, that's huge. That could be a big game for your momentum. And it's also big for your SEC standings if, say, you do catch an L to Alabama or at Auburn. And I thought, okay, well, there's also Texas at home. That's a big game because it's Texas coming in to Athens. But after last year, I thought, does Georgia kind of have that edge over Texas? Because it felt like Texas was the better team last year, and Georgia kind of somehow managed to win both those games. So those 4 games stuck out to me the most. And ultimately, I went with the Alabama game. Because you're coming out of the bye, you've got Alabama at home. You want to break the curse. You want to break the status quo. If you lose to Texas at home, it sucks, but you beat them twice last year. If you lose to Florida, it's really going to suck, but you've kind of owned Florida for the past 5-6 years. Well, since 2020, minus that 1 year. If you lose to Auburn, that might be Auburn's biggest game of the year, and it might be their best game of the year. So, no, you can't lose all 3 of those. But out of those 4 games, if there's one that you absolutely should not lose, it's Alabama, man. You
For
got them
sure.
at home. You had it last year. You did the comeback. You had the whole thing, and then Ryan Williams did what Ryan Williams did, and you end up losing to Alabama again.
Yeah.
So for me, it's I mean, how is it not? How you've got to break that curse. You've got to get them out of your head. I think Georgia has to beat Alabama at home. Because if they don't, man, carrying that the rest of the season's just going to be tough.
And that is the very reason why I am choosing the game before the Alabama game. I think at Tennessee is going to be a real sleeper game. I don't think Kirby's going to have them prepared because,
Oh,
and hear me out,
okay.
I just think his mind is really going to be on Alabama, and he's going to believe that, hey, this Tennessee team doesn't have a quarterback. We can win on talent alone. And I don't know. When it comes to Georgia, Georgia always has a weird away game that they don't look like Georgia. And honestly, I wish they would have scheduled a bit tougher instead of Marshall or Austin P flipped it for like an Ole Miss or started out the season a bit stronger with the out of conference opponent because you really don't know what your team is. And we can account for there's going to be somebody who's not going to make it to the Tennessee game due to either discipline or some Georgia. And I believe it was Coach Steve Spurrier said, I always like playing Georgia early because I could account for a starter or two not being there due to discipline issues. He was taking a jab at Georgia. And it's true. I mean, I love what Kirby's done, but I mean, man, like there's something there to it. So I think that Tennessee is going to be. Now, do I think Tennessee's going to win this game? No, I picked it. I think Tennessee is. This is going to be a bad one, but I think it's really in the back of the mind of Josh Heupel is that okay? I have to go toe to toe with Kirby on the recruiting trail every single day I open my eyes. If I don't beat Kirby right now, I'm going to have a whole recruiting cycle 3 years to be exact, that he can say, I've never lost to Tennessee. Why are you going up there? You're wasting your time.
Yeah.
He would be 0-5 against Kirby. So that's why I think it's like, all right, like I think Josh Heupel understands the significance of that game. So give me that. And I do we talked about Alabama, but Texas is going to be monumental, and that's going to lead us to next. And I'll take it. I mean, I think that there's a lot of games on here that are important, but dude, the biggest game of the year is week 1. Texas at Ohio State.
Yeah.
That is a lot, bruh. That's a lot. Like, that is a true Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, 12 rounds, week 0. We don't have any film on y'all. You don't have any film on us. Best on best, strength on strength. Who is like that? And we're about to see it literally in 4 weeks' time. So I'm going that. That to me is going to be an instant classic, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you, and I toyed with that game at first with the Ohio State game for Texas, but because it's week 1 and because it's out of conference, I thought I don't know if this is the most important game for Texas, because if they lose this game and then they get right the rest of the season, be kind of like the Georgia game was for them last year, where they lost it, won out, still made the SEC title game, still made the playoffs. So I think Texas can afford to lose that Ohio State game more than they can afford to lose a few other games.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I actually went with the Oklahoma game
Really?
for Texas. Yeah, I went with the Oklahoma game for Texas, and I'll tell you why. So you got the big matchup with Ohio State. You're going to learn a lot about Texas, and you're going to learn about a lot about what you have with Texas if you're Steve Sarkisian, which could be a good or a bad thing, because then you play literally nobody for the next 3 games, and you go into a bye week, and you play at Florida. Huge road test for Arch coming out of a bye week. So Steve's going to have a chance to feel either really good or really good after that. Then you play Oklahoma. So you're coming off of a road trip to Florida, and you got to play your Red River Shootout rival in Oklahoma. And if you catch an L to Florida, your SEC title hopes, which I'm not saying they will, but if you do catch an L to Florida, maybe the Swamp's loud, Arch has a rough game on the road, probably the biggest game at Florida in the past few years. All the bakings for a really big upset. So if you catch that L, then you got to go see Oklahoma. And if Oklahoma's surging the way that we think and that a lot of the national media thinks they will be, if John Mateer actually is legit, if Brent Venables gets the defense right, if bringing the OC from Washington State clicks with John Mateer, that's a dangerous Oklahoma team in a really dangerous spot. And if you manage to, say you do manage to beat Florida and you catch an L to Oklahoma, later on down the road, you've got a trip at Georgia. And all of a sudden, the SEC looks a little bit more shaky for you.
Because then you got to win. There's no dropping that game.
Yep. Then you got to win. So the spot that it's in and the way that Texas' schedule shakes out, I think that Oklahoma game is a must-win game for Texas. Because, excuse me, sorry. Say they do end up losing to Ohio State in what is your most pivotal game for Texas.
Yep.
And then you catch another L for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And you're, what, 4-2?
Yeah, bro. You're on the outside looking in.
It gets real.
Looking in.
I mean, you got a lot of Texas fans that are like, what the hell happened? Like, we were preseason SEC favorite, picked to win the conference at SEC Media Days, and we're 4-2 in October? What do you mean? Hang on now. And you can still win the conference. Don't get me wrong. It'd be one conference L, but it's two, like, it'd be real awkward. It'd be real awkward in Texas if you manage to drop that Oklahoma game. So
that's a great way to look at it. And looking at preseason predictions and high expectations outside of Texas, I don't think there's another team with more hype and more buy-in than a team that you never win when you choose them, the LSU Tigers. I've never seen anything like it. Like, Jay, I remember specifically, man, we were at our good friends at Mike's Hole in the Wall, and we would have our core 4, and he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm picking LSU."
Yep.
0-1. Hey, you know what? I believe in Brian. 0-2, 0-3, 0-5, man.
Yep.
LSU did you dirty. They did you dirty, like the entire 2024 season. So when you see this LSU schedule, where are you like, all right, like this is where I think the most pivotal time of their season is going to be? Where do you see it at?
Oh, dude, this one This one was easy for me. It's at Clemson. You got to start hot. If you're Brian Kelly and you're and you're LSU, you cannot drop that first game for a third year in a row. Like, you dropped it to a Florida State team, albeit that was a really good Florida. We didn't know it at the time because it was first game of the season. Turned out to be a really, really damn good Florida State team.
For sure.
Then you drop the second big game in a row, and you're playing USC, who turned out to be a very mediocre USC team.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're playing at Clemson, a program that has established themselves, and some people will say what they've said. I've been critical of Dabo. I'm not going to sit here and say I've sat here and sang his praises.
I have.
A program that's done it. They've won national, and I know LSU 2019, that's still a thing. But I would say Clemson's probably been a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, for sure.
In their run with Dabo. I don't think that's wild. I don't think that's fair. LSU's probably had some higher ceiling teams.
Absolutely.
But you look at that defense when they had Jaden Daniels, and it's like, what are we fielding here? So
that's a travesty that they let that happen.
It just unforgivable. But if you're Brian Kelly, I don't think you can afford to lose an opening game like this for the third year in a row. Because last year he had that podium stance where he was like, and we're, slamming the table, and we're here again. Okay, do you want to repeat that? Do you want to lose? And I know it's Clemson, so losing to Clemson it's not going to be as bad as losing to USC was last year.
Yeah.
But it's not great. And you're in Death Valley, man. And this is the year. Like, you've built towards this year. Garrett Nussmeier's back. You had a great transfer portal class. LSU needs to get over the hump.
They do.
Because I think if LSU comes out and lays an egg against Clemson, yeah, all your goals are still there. You can still win the SEC. But if you're an LSU fan, do you feel great about it?
No way. There's no way.
Like, what is your buy-in on if you're the average LSU fan right now? Your buy-in on Brian Kelly's probably what?
A 6 out of 10.
Yeah, between 60 and 70%.
Yeah.
You come out and lose that opening game again, that's got to drop. I mean, you're sitting probably between 30 and 40, being like, here we go again. All these expectations. Brian Kelly can't win the big game.
He can't. I mean,
and then you got to face that the rest of the season. So I think if you're LSU, man, that Clemson game is pivotal. You got to get one. You got to get one of these big matchups.
You do, and I like your concept, and I'm gonna steal it a little bit because 2 weeks later, let's just say you beat Clemson, Florida walks into your house, and this is the best Florida team that Billy Napier has had, and you're looking at, I would say, 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC with Nuss and Lagway taking on. That's a big matchup. And if Florida wins that game, it really puts into perspective that LSU as a program isn't there because Florida was not good 2 years. They were atrocious 2 years ago. You're not really that good of a football team last year. So it's like,
yeah,
what do you do? It's like, oh, we're getting past, and we got all this talent. I think I'm looking at that Florida game like, yeah, we need to be on it if we're LSU.
Yeah, now and that is your SEC opener, so I'm that's a very big game for Brian Kelly, and it's at home. Mm-hmm. So like, you let Florida come into your house and leave with a dub.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick timeout, full timeout from the episode here. And let's talk a little bit about our sponsors. A local Chattanooga staple since 2016, Barra's Cabinet Refinishing has been your go-to spot for custom cabinets in the scenic city, with owner Alan Barra having 25 years of experience. From cabinet refinishing that breathes new life into your existing cabinetry to cabinet refacing and modifications that transform and optimize your space. The people over at Barra's simply deliver the goods. just like your boy Kirby Smart, Joseph, on a Saturday as they give exceptional results tailored to your exact needs. So, for a winning team that's always got your back in cabinetry, trust Barras, the official sponsor of Chatt It Up Sports. Head over to their website, barrascabinetrefinishing.com, to get your free estimate today. And if you mention Chatt It Up Sports, our guy Alan will hook you up with a 5% off your job. Do it now. Thank us later. Barra's Cabinet Refinishing, the official cabinets of Chatt It Up Sports.
Can I stick with the LSU theme really fast?
Of course.
Because next on our list is Ole Miss, and I think that their most important game, for selfish reasons, is going to be an audition for head coach Lane Kiffin. It's the LSU game. Let's just say, for example, that LSU does what I think they're going to do, which is lose at Clemson and then lose the Florida game. I think Lane Kiffin is going to smell blood in the water. And I think he's going to be like, I got to call my best game. I have got to call my best game because Brian Kelly is driving drunk behind a Ferrari and has hit 3 stop signs in 3 minutes. He is actively having a DUI, and he doesn't know what to do with it. Let me show you what a real driver can do. And I think he's going to audition for that job and try to run up the score against LSU to prove a point, saying, hey, get him out of here. Come get me from Ole Miss because I can't win here. I have peaked. That's what I think is going to happen.
I don't even want to imagine, like, the message boards for LSU fans if they are 1-3 going into October. Actually, I don't think Brian Kelly will be there. I know that might be kind of if LSU's 1-3 going into October. I don't know if Brian survives that.
No,
I'm not predicting they'll be 1-3 because I don't think they will be.
No, not by any means.
But it would get real awkward if they were.
Bro, I mean, they got so much talent across the board. I was looking at your boy on SEC Media Days. What's it? Will Weeks?
Whit Weeks.
Whit Weeks, not
Whit
Will.
Weeks, man.
Whit Weeks, man.
Close.
Bro, I was watching some film the other day. He's going to be a first-round pick.
He's an animal, dude.
He's going to be a first-round pick. Like, he reminds me of like oh my gosh. What was it? My man that was at NC State. That was just ruthless.
Peyton Lewis?
Yeah, or Peyton Wilson or something
Peyton
like
Wilson.
that.
Peyton, yeah, something like
and
that.
Bro. It's just crazy. But yeah, Ole Miss, that is the game for me. What about you? Where's your head at right now?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm in the same spot. I picked LSU for Ole Miss also because Georgia State win. At Kentucky, you should probably win that game. Arkansas, you should probably also win that game. Tulane just got a lot more interesting because they picked up Jake Retzlaff from BYU after he transferred out of the program. So
why
I think
Tulane,
he got, doing some things at BYU that you can't be doing at BYU.
Hey, man. So, it's all right, brother.
And I mean, it seems like BYU's not ready to take the fall for the football team yet. So
hey, man, you ain't doing all that.
But yeah, I think LSU's a big game for Ole Miss because if you manage to drop any of those first 4 games, then you play LSU. You're coming out of the bye, and if you're 3-2 or 2-3, even coming out of the bye, you've got Washington State at Georgia, at Oklahoma, South Carolina. You play Florida, and then you play at. I know the Citadel's in there too. You play Florida, and then you're at Mississippi State. It could get real hairy in that mid part, in that mid-October to early November section of their schedule. You lose that LSU game, and it could be tough for the rest of the season going forward for Ole Miss. So I think that would be one that Lane Kiffin would really like to have. Again, I don't hate your reasoning behind the audition for LSU, But yeah, I think that's Ole Miss's most pivotal game is LSU before the bye week, and what goes into a very hard stretch of your season.
I agree. That's a great take. I mean, LSU is a top 5 job in college football, and I think that we gotta. It's just they are so much to me of my childhood. Like I just remember LSU always having a team. Even when LSU wasn't good, they were good. You
Yeah,
know?
dude, they've always had insane talent.
Yeah, like they just always have figured it out, and I just think it's better for college football. So yeah, I like those picks. Now going into the next, we have my Volunteers, the University of Tennessee Vols, and I was really split on this because there are 3 games that I think could be it, and I'll use the first one being almost an audition, but for Tennessee fans, and this is going to be the Oklahoma game. If Josh Heupel absolutely decimates his alma mater, I expect for Josh Heupel to get a serious look at becoming the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners at the end of the season. I
Oh,
just
okay.
expect it. I think that yes, Josh is happy here, but this is happy with your second wife. It's like if I can make it up to my first one, I'm gonna go do the damn thing, and I think that he would at least think about it, you know. So um, you have that. Also, a common theme is how you start. The Syracuse game is not going to be easy, and I don't care what anybody says. This team, we always talk about these early SEC teams. You remember NC State last year?
Yeah.
And Tennessee put like a 70 ball, could have literally
Yep.
been 100 points on NC State.
Name your number, and
That
they could have.
that ain't happening against Syracuse. I'm sorry. They play differently. They are physical. They are fast. They got outside speed. They look the part, and nobody is picking them to win. Like that spread right now is 12 and a half. I hate that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of points for somebody who doesn't know who their quarterback's going to be, and you're
Mhm.
replacing all this production. So that's an interesting game, but the game I'm going to go to is something that I have not seen happen since I was 10 years old. That is the Tennessee Volunteers winning in Gainesville, Florida. I think that this is going to be really 2 teams that are fighting outside of the bubble of the college football playoff at the time of the season in early November, right? And I think that when you talk through it, Tennessee has not beat them. And I want to say what, 10 to 11, 12, something like that, straight matchups in the swamp. I've been to 4 of them.
Mhm.
And I will never go back to Gainesville because it's just always something. And Tennessee just cannot do it. If they haven't done it now, I don't know when it's going to happen. So give me that Florida game as the most pivotal matchup at Florida late in the season because Tennessee, if they do what they're supposed to do, they're going to have a lot to play for.
They do. They do have a lot to play for. And 2003 was the last time Tennessee beat Florida in the swamp. September 20th, 2003. Final score was 24-10. So, yeah, coming up on about 22 years there. So, which,
22 years.
yeah, which, I mean, every other year. So, take that for what it is. You only get a chance every other year. So,
I was 9, man.
it's a
I
long
was
time,
9,
dude.
bro.
That's a long time.
That's crazy. I was 9.
Man, looking at Tennessee's schedule here, this was probably one of the hardest ones for me.
Yeah.
Because there's so many games after the Nico situation. Like I'm with you on the Syracuse game. Fran Brown's going to coach those boys to play hard.
Oh my
And
God.
if you're Tennessee, you want to start fast.
Yep.
You do not want to start 0-1 because you do not want to lose that momentum. And then you got Georgia coming in 2 weeks at Tennessee, starting a new quarterback. Well, I mean, I say starting a new quarterback. Gunner has started a game before, but one game. So take that
Yeah.
for what it will. But it's Georgia at home in what I would consider probably a untested position for the Dogs. Like, yeah, they play 2 games before that, but they don't really know what they're going to be.
Not at
You
all.
have an idea, but you don't know for sure. So, like, if Tennessee manages to gather up some momentum and really, you know, Neyland's going crazy and you manage to pull off this huge upset, like that could skyrocket your momentum for the rest of the year. Then you've got the 3rd Saturday in October, which is always a huge game because you finally broke the streak. You finally broke the Nick Saban curse and you got through and you beat Alabama and then you beat them again. So can you do it at Alabama? And then I'm also with you on the Oklahoma game. Like, that's Josh's alma mater. He doesn't want to lose that game.
No,
You beat him
not at
last
all.
year. It's at Oklahoma. Or no, sorry, it's at home. So you don't want to lose to Oklahoma at home. But all of those games pale in comparison to what it would mean to the Tennessee fan base. Because, yeah, if you lose to Georgia, well, you know, it's just we're losing to Kirby Smart again. It sucks.
Yep.
We don't like it, but not many other teams are beating Kirby Smart. Okay, Alabama, well, you got them last year. Okay, they got you at home. Oklahoma, well, you got them last year. You hadn't beat Florida in the swamp since 2003, dog.
0-3, bro.
0-3, man.
Oh.
Even if Tennessee kind of flops this year and Joey Aguilar's just not it, and your quarterback position is a revolving door, and Josh ends up going with like a was it Jake Merklinger?
Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre.
Yeah, to try to get an early jump on next year or something. You got to feel damn good if you're a Tennessee fan and you go into the swamp and you beat Florida and you potentially dash their playoff hopes.
For sure.
If Florida is in that kind of, like, if they're one of those outside looking in teams that if they manage to get this win against Tennessee, it could really vault them up into like a, 10, 11 seed position.
Yeah.
But man, if Josh goes down there and he beats them for the first time since 2003, you got to feel pretty damn good if you're a Volunteer fan.
You do, and
because you're gonna be drinking them Gator tears, dog.
Oh, bro. Oh, I can't wait. And I want to mention, this is now a fully stocked Josh Heupel Tennessee football program, meaning every single player that is on this team has been recruited by Josh Heupel.
Mm-hmm.
This is now officially his program.
Yep.
So it's been a full cycle. I think a lot of Tennessee fans, for the way that he handled this Nico Iamaleava situation, he almost got a redshirt year as a coach.
I'm kind of with you, because I think the fan base, if you were to just poll the fan base, most of them would much rather say, yeah, I'm glad we didn't give Nico the money, instead of, well, I wish we would have paid him and had a chance at being better, but no guarantee. Because now you also got to remember what you've got coming in next year. Is it Brandon Faison or Faison Brandon?
Faison Brandon.
Faison Brandon. I always say his name backwards, dude.
I don't know why. Well, he has 2 first names.
I always say his name backwards. But you've got him coming in, number 1 quarterback in the nation.
Yeah. Well, you also got a quarterback in Jared Curtis that he ain't half bad on the way.
The future's bright, man. So I'm with you though. I think that Florida game, if Tennessee could manage to steal that game in the swamp, that would be a real big in Josh's corner, because then it's like, if you're Josh Heupel, it's like, okay, well, you beat Oklahoma, you beat you broke the curse against Alabama, and you broke the curse in the swamp.
For sure.
Like next on the chopping block's Georgia.
You got to be Georgia. And think about it this way too, and we'll move on to our next one. But after this year, I hate to say it, but you really avoid Georgia for Faison's entire college career.
Yeah, you won't play Georgia. You won't play Georgia again until 2028 because you won't play him in 26, won't play him in 27. So until Brandon's or Faison's junior year.
And that is something. Like, he's gonna be ready, and there's no telling what this team looks like. So no, I'm all in. I think those are great picks, and we gotta apologize to our brother Garrett Tolley, because this thing that I'm about to say is frustrating. He's gonna hear this on the ride home from Memphis. He's in Memphis on business right now. He's gonna be upset, and we'll get into Memphis here in a few minutes, but. The Auburn Tigers are our next team that we're going to talk about, and Hugh Freeze is coaching like he has a gun to his head.
Okay.
This is it. And I will say, though, his buyout is so much money that Auburn is stuck with Hugh Freeze. But he has to start out hot. Like, he has to show like there is some improvement. That Baylor game, he needs to beat the brakes off of Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. That is my most important matchup for Auburn.
I love it. I think it was it was in my top 2, but it wasn't what I ultimately went with. But I love the pick and I love your reasoning because I'm I was of the same mindset that Auburn was stuck with Hugh Freeze. But after I watched Texas A&M buy out Jimbo Fisher, I'm kind of convinced that like the money's not real.
Anything can
and
happen.
Anybody can just buy out anybody at any point. They'll find it somehow, some way. Who knows? But I looking over Auburn's schedule.
Yeah.
I went with the Georgia game as their most pivotal game.
Ooh, talk to him, Jay.
You get Georgia at home. You're off a bye week.
Okay.
Georgia's coming off of playing Alabama at home and Kentucky at home. So they're 2 games fatigued, and you get them on a bye at home in Jordan-Hare, where we've seen some wild things happen. But if Auburn's schedule plays out like I think it's going to, which means nothing when I say that because it totally could not, they're probably sitting at about 3-2. Optimistically, you're 4-1. Like, I'll give you maybe you could steal Oklahoma at home or at Texas A&M. I don't think there's any way you get both of them. I think you'll beat Baylor. And then Ball State and South Alabama, if you lose those, well, it's not. If you lose those, every game going forward is a pivotal game. So
you're not looking good.
So I'm giving Auburn the benefit of the doubt. I'm thinking they're going to be sitting somewhere between like 3-2, 4-1, and then you got the dogs coming to town, man.
Yeah.
And say Georgia rips off 5 in a row, they're probably going to be the number 1 ranked team if they beat Alabama and beat Kentucky, and they haven't lost.
Yeah.
And I remember the last time Georgia went into Jordan-Hare, ranked number 1. And Auburn was, or I remember a time, I don't think it was the last time, but I remember a time when Georgia went into Auburn, ranked number 1.
What happened?
And boy, they got absolutely slapped. I mean, they just got completely dominated. And I think it would just be a huge win for Auburn. I think it would be a huge momentum surge for your program if you manage to pull off an upset against what will probably could be a number 1 ranked Georgia if they're 5-0. If they've lost to Alabama and they're 4-1, probably still a top 10 team. So if you're Auburn and you manage to pull off that upset, that's such a shot of juice for your program. And it's a signature win in the cap for Hugh Freeze. So I went with Auburn catching Georgia out of a bye week as their most pivotal game. Because if you lose, you got 4 straight SEC games before you get a bye, play Mercer, and Alabama comes to town. So
I love it, and I'm gonna take it for this next team. And I'll be quick, man. Missouri, I really don't care about, and I know that's bad, but I really do not like Missouri as a program. I don't. I'll be honest with you. I just cannot stand it. I don't like Como. I don't like anything having to do with anything. I just do not like Eli Drakowitz. But he always has his guys ready in some type of form or fashion. I don't think earlier in the Eli era he did. Now he does. Coming out of a bye against Alabama, I think again it's the same type of concept. I think that's super important. So give me that game for Mizzou.
Okay, I like that. This was also really tough for me because I just don't know. I don't know what to expect from Missouri this year. Like
I have no expectations.
I don't know what they're going to be with Bo Perbula. Like they could be 9-3, or they could be 3-9 in my head, as far as I'm concerned.
Easy,
Like,
bro.
which is why this 7.5 line is so daunting. But picking a game that's most pivotal, I think I'm going to go with the Kansas game. Because the SEC slate is what it is. You're playing South Carolina at home. Then you've got Alabama at Auburn at Vandy. You play Texas A&M. You play Mississippi State. You play at Oklahoma and at Arkansas to end the season in back-to-back road games. So I think Kansas is a huge win for you because the SEC slate's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And if you manage to drop that game against Kansas, that SEC schedule looks way more daunting if you're Missouri. And if you're a Missouri fan, you've got to be thinking, okay, well, the Kansas game didn't go well. We got South Carolina in 2 weeks, especially if Lenore Sellers looks good. You don't feel great about that. Then you got a bye week. Alabama's coming to town. Then you play at Auburn and at Vandy in back-to-back road games before another bye. You play Texas A&M, who could end up being really, really good this year with Marcel Reed and the running backs they got coming back.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you lose that early game versus Kansas, you don't feel great about Missouri.
No.
So I think that's probably a very pivotal game for them, and to get a signature out of conference win.
Oh, I respect it. Now, I think we both have the same game circled for this next team. And it's South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
The Battle of the Palmetto State has to be the game, right?
Oh, it's actually not for me.
Oh, wow. All right. What is yours?
Oh, I actually went with at LSU for South Carolina.
Respect, bro. I respect it. That's a hell of a pick.
And I'll tell you why, because if South Carolina wants to be taken legitimately as a SEC contender, not saying they are, but if they want to be, and if Lenore Sellers is what we think he could be, you give him the Vandy game, you give him at Missouri, and you give him Kentucky. You got a bye week, and you're at LSU. The easy part of your SEC schedule is gone because you're at LSU. You got Oklahoma at home, and you got Alabama at home. Then you're going to at Ole Miss. That's a brutal 4-week stretch for your South Carolina. For if you're a Gamecock fan, like for all we know, South Carolina could start 5-0.
Oh, they
be
will.
a top 15 team.
Yeah.
And then lose 4-5 straight, really. Because if you lose to LSU, then you lose to Oklahoma, then you lose to Alabama, then you lose to Ole Miss, which I don't think you will. You're coming out of the bye week playing at Texas A&M. I don't think anybody wants to see a winless October for South Carolina.
No way.
LSU's a game you should have got last year. I think that's huge for Shane Beamer and Lenore Sellers. If South Carolina wants to be taken legitimately as a team that not necessarily could win the SEC, but is taking the next step for their program. So I think if you're South Carolina, that LSU game's huge, man.
Man, I love the pick. I love it. I just think that I got to ride with Beamer ball, and I told you that. I mean, I think that's going to be a college football playoff game between South Carolina and Clemson. I have high expectations for Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
I have higher expectations for South Carolina, and I just do. I don't know why. I just think in a second year, a lot of returning players. The one guy is Nick Harbor going to be what we think he's going to be, or is he just going to be an NCAA cheat code on EA College Football 25? We don't know. Is Dylan Stewart going to have a sophomore slump? He, to me, is the most dominant defensive lineman I've seen, arguably since Myles Garrett. Like, he is extremely twitchy, like jumps off the page type of stuff. And then you got a Heisman, I think, at your quarterback position if he just learns to take over a game. So I like the pick. And I just watched this past weekend, man. I watched the documentary and it got me so hyped for college football. The Johnny Manziel Untold on Netflix is one of my favorite
dude.
documentaries of all time.
It's so well done.
It made me just want to give Johnny a hug and just let him know, like, I'm there. But College Station, Texas A&M, I mean, this team, they were told that they could not compete in the SEC, and they've done it. And now they're in the thick of it in the SEC. And I'm looking right now, and I'm circling a game already, and it's to represent the SEC at Notre Dame.
Okay.
I think it's like, all right, hey, you're in the SEC. I know Texas is here, but damn it, we're here, and we came here first.
Mhm.
And we got something to say. So give me the Notre Dame game. But I think I know which one you're going to go with, and I want you to tell the people why.
Oh, man. There's only one thing that the faithful in Aggieland want,
What's that, bro?
and that is horns down.
Oh!
That is horns down all day of the week,
Yes, sir.
every single day,
Yes, sir.
forever. Texas A&M could go 0-11, and if the fan base is like, we beat Texas, we'll take it. We'll take it. But I think Texas is their most pivotal game. And I think it's the game they want the most. Like, losing at Notre Dame would be tough, but it's on the road. It's at Notre Dame early. You've got a talent advantage. Like, in my opinion, those next 5 games, you've got either you're in the same realm of talent in maybe all of those except one, or you have a talent advantage in maybe all of those except one. I'd give LSU the talent advantage over A&M.
No doubt.
But like Auburn, kind of close. Mississippi State, Texas A&M is better. Florida, kind of close. Arkansas, Texas A&M is better. If you can manage to win like 3 out of those 2, I think you're still alive in the SEC with 2 losses.
For sure.
I think you could beat at Missouri. You could beat South Carolina. You got Samford, and then, man, you are on the road at Texas. And what would be sweeter than being on the edge of the SEC championship race? It's late November, and you go into DKR, and you just horns down all day. Mike Elko comes out with a massive win, and Aggieland probably erupts. Maybe.
Oh, no doubt.
like I can't imagine what the streets of Kyle Field would look like if they go into Texas and win. I know on Twitter, dude, they would be cinema if Texas A&M managed to go in and win that game. So yeah, give me Texas A&M give me at Texas for Texas A&M as their most pivotal game, because I think Aggie fans could tank losing to LSU, could take losing to Notre Dame if they could beat Texas.
Yeah. Talking about rivalries, this next team that we're going to talk about, this is a rivalry, but it's not, but it is. And I'm glad that they're starting to play football against each other. And it's going to be my game. I'm talking Florida at Miami, which I think is going to be their most pivotal matchup. And it's because of one thing and one thing only: recruiting. If Florida wins this matchup, they can go into Miami and say, listen, we came into Miami and absolutely stomped Miami. Why are you staying home? Come to Gainesville and be in the SEC. If they get stomped out by Miami, then it's like, hey, Miami's beat you in back-to-back years. I kind of don't want to send my son to Gainesville. I think I'll take my chances in Coral Gables. And it's really going to set up for what I think is going to be I mean, it's the hardest schedule in America. I mean, at LSU, at Miami, and then there's a bye, and then you got Texas, and then you got at Texas A&M, then you got Georgia, and then you got 2 back-to-back road games, and you got Tennessee, you got a Florida State team that is going to be playing like their life is on the line. This is not good, man. So
Yeah.
give me Miami to kick it off for the Florida Gators.
You know, I toyed in my head with at Georgia, or not at Georgia, with the world's largest outdoor cocktail party playing Georgia. You're coming out of a bye, but Georgia's also on a bye. And then the other game after a bye week is Texas at home. And while I think that would be huge, and I think, again, like we said, it's one of the biggest games at the Swamp in years. In terms of weight that game carries, I think most Florida fans would probably understand if they lost to Texas.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, they don't want to lose to Georgia, and they're not happy losing to Georgia.
Not at all.
But I think they get it, at least this year. If you lose to Miami after they just did what they did to go out and get Carson Beck.
You hear me?
And I love what you said about recruiting, because right now the state of Florida needs somebody. They need somebody to ascend. Miami looked like they were going to do it last year, and they did what Mario Cristobal's done with some really good teams and fell flat on their face. Florida State, for all intents and purposes, was a rolling ball of garbage last year. Are they going to be better? Maybe. But there's a chance that Florida State could kind of backslide again. And Thomas Castellanos can't carry it by himself.
I love him to death, but this is more than him, man. I mean, unless he has like a Cam Ward type of, which he very well could.
He could. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's as good as Cam.
Either, bro. I don't think so either, dog.
Yeah, he's not as good as Cam Ward, but he's better than DJU. So, but man, if you're Florida and you beat at Miami and you beat Florida State at home and you go 2-0 versus not only the ACC, but the other 2 schools in Florida, actually, you have a chance to kind of sweep the state of Florida this year, because you also play South Florida. And you come out and you're the big dog. Say you're competitive in the Texas game. Say you're competitive in the Georgia game like you were last year. You beat Kentucky, you beat Ole Miss. Say you beat Tennessee at home.
Yeah.
And then you can hang your hat on the fact that, like, well, you know, we also beat Miami and Florida State. Like, we are the school in Florida. Somebody needs to establish themselves. And I think if Florida gets the win at Miami, they could take the step towards doing that. So I'm with you. I think they need to win that game in Miami, especially after how badly they got embarrassed last year at home. I mean, Miami just dog walked you in the swamp, dude.
Bad, bro.
It just, like, it was almost like watching the fans in the stands like, we're not going to win another game the rest of the year. Now, they turned it around, but I think if you're Florida, you want to go into the bye week at minimum 3-1. If you lose to LSU, that sucks. LSU is going to be really good this year. But if you go in 3-1 and you can hang your hat on some momentum, we beat at Miami, we get a bye week, then we got Texas coming to town. I think having that momentum of winning in Coral Gables could do wonders for you in recruiting and in the Texas game coming up. So I'm with you, man. I think Miami is pivotal for Florida.
We'll get you back in a second. We have a brand new sponsor here on Chatt It Up Sports. Steel City brand and the perfect tee. My gosh, guys, these are wonderful. We got these new custom hats. I'm bringing this bad boy in. This thing is sweet. I'm actually not going to lie to you. From the picture, I was like, man, it looks pretty nice. You know, it's going to be like a jean jacket, a little Canadian tuxedo, if you will. It is not, my friends. This thing is amazing. Walked around in this bad boy with my beautiful little girl today. So fantastic stuff. I'll tell you what, Steel City is all around the country. It ain't just there in Pittsburgh. If you want vintage sports tees to iconic Berg designs, I'll tell you what, these are the guys to get to. And check out the website at steelcitybrand.com. Type in promo code ChatItUp15 to get 15% off. And we'll take care of you. Great tees, I'm telling you, all around. Like if you want the Steel City logos, perfect tees, or just simple all-around wears for the summer, I'm telling you, this is the best. Cool, off-kilter colors, the best. SteelCityBrand.com. Chat It Up 15 for 15% off.
Love it. I looking at this next team, didn't realize it, but they're at Michigan in the Big House.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it. Oklahoma. I mean, I don't know what to think of this team, man. I mean, I truly do think whenever we talk about Matir, bro, I was looking at some film of him against Wyoming the other day on Twitter. It was a clip that he posted. Am I missing something, or is he really good, man?
People seem to think so.
Because there's a lot of hype, and I'm just like, I guess, but man, kicking it against Bryce Underwood for his first real test, dog. Give me that Michigan game is going to set the tone for Oklahoma, and what I think. I mean, this could be Brent Venables' final season to me. And I know this buyout is crazy, but I keep mentioning buyouts, Jay, because college football is shifting. And I don't think you're going to see coaches get bought out as much as you used to because of the revenue share model now with college athletics, because there's not enough money to go around. So
Possibly.
I think that Michigan game is going to be something.
Okay. I like that pick. I think that Michigan game is very important for Oklahoma. But I also kind of think Oklahoma I don't want to say Michigan's sailing on this year, but I just think Oklahoma has the edge there.
Yeah.
So I think they could win that game. As far as pivotal, I actually went with the Texas game. For part of the same reason that I went with the Oklahoma game for Texas. Because picture these two scenarios, and one of these got pitched by the guys at the next round. Say Oklahoma's 5-0 going into the Texas game, and Texas is 3-2 with a loss to Ohio State and a loss to Florida.
Yeah.
Like, you have a chance to really kick a team when they're down.
I mean,
if you're Oklahoma,
curve, dude.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a good chance there to not just kick a team when they're down, but kind of stomp out their hopes for this season. If Texas ends up 3-3 there, I mean, we're going from, like we talked about earlier, monumental expectations to, okay, we're 500. And I think you could say the opposite for Oklahoma. Say the Michigan game doesn't go your way. Say you lose to Auburn and you have Jackson Arnold come in and show you up, the guy you ran off.
I didn't even think about that.
You got Kent State after a bye, and then it's the Red River Shootout. So imagine you're 3-2, and you're hanging your cap on wins against Illinois State, at Temple, and Kent State. That's almost like, if you don't get this game,
yeah,
you're at South Carolina, you got Ole Miss at home, and then you're at Tennessee. I mean, is Oklahoma going to repeat what they did last year? Are they going to be worse? Are we going to have all this hype on John Mateer and this new offense and Brent Venables calling the defense and then backslide even further? Because that's like, I mean, it's your second SEC game.
Yeah.
But the tone around Oklahoma, if they lose that Texas game, and it's not their first loss, God forbid it's their third loss, and you're 3-3 going into the back half of your schedule with South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, and LSU left.
Yeah, guys.
Brother, it's getting real uncomfortable in Norman.
It's getting hot.
It's getting real uncomfortable. I think Texas is their most pivotal game. If you manage to win that game, you jolt so much into that team, and you just kind of for the same reason I picked that game for Texas A&M. It's one of your biggest rivals. It's your biggest rival. It's Oklahoma's biggest rival. And you'd love nothing more than to dash their hopes. So give me the Red River Shootout for Oklahoma as their most pivotal game.
Sticking with the regional theme, this next team, Arkansas, the Razorbacks. Their most pivotal matchup is going to be just across the water in Memphis. I think at Memphis, because Arkansas is not going to be good this year. And I know they have a great quarterback in Mr. Green. I know they have some speed there. I know they got great offensive line play because Sam Pittman is naturally the guru of offensive linemen. But the schedule is tough, man. I mean, you got Notre Dame at Tennessee, Texas A&M, Auburn, at LSU. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening here.
Mm-hmm.
If you could potentially lose, I mean, after at LSU, I mean, we're talking at Texas. I mean, in Missouri, it's going to be hard to find 6 wins on here. And I think Vegas knows that because I set the line at 5.5.
Yeah.
If you lose at Memphis, you potentially are going to lose 4 straight games in October. That's not a recipe for success.
Yeah.
Great teams win in October in college football. That October makes or breaks your season. That's just how it goes. Ole Miss, that is something you can slide and lose, but at Memphis, if you lose that game, I mean, you would have lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games straight. You'd be 2-6 and have to win out with LSU on the horizon as well as Texas. That's ugly.
Yeah, and I'm with you actually. I think Memphis is for as much of a lackluster matchup as it sounds like on paper. I think it's a game you have to win if you're Arkansas. Because say you do manage to get the Ole Miss game, then you got at Memphis, and then man, there's a chance you lose 7 of your next 8.
Yeah.
Because you're at Memphis, and then like you said, Notre Dame, at Tennessee. You have a bye week at Tennessee, Texas A&M, Auburn. You could get Mississippi State, but if you don't, it's looking like 8 straight. Because Mississippi State, bye, at LSU, at Texas, at Missouri. And if it makes it to that point where you're like going to LSU and you've lost 5 straight, I don't know if Sam Pittman's still there.
No, and I can tell you, it's a definitive he won't be there, and it's unfortunate. And I know looking at these final 3 teams, and I'll group mine together because it's the same answer for every single one. These to me are going to be my teams that are the bubble bracket busters, meaning that they don't care. They're out of contention, meaning Kentucky, meaning Vanderbilt, and meaning Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to do one thing only. Hey, if we suck, at least we beat our rivals. November 29th for every single team. Kentucky at Louisville. Vanderbilt at home versus Tennessee. And Mississippi State taking on Ole Miss. The one job you have is, damn it, if we're not going to go to a bowl game, we're going to make sure that their life is a living hell. And I think they're going to take that entire mantra and run it to the bank. So those are my 3 respectively. And feel free to kind of take what you think from that as well.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think it's hard to go wrong with rivalry games. No one wants to lose rivalry games. I'll say I'm with you with Kentucky because, and I just don't think they're going to be very good this year. And I think if you can hang your hat on, well, hey, we got Louisville again, that'll make you feel good. For Vandy, I actually went with Virginia Tech because this SEC slate at South Carolina, at Alabama, then you play, you get a bye week. Then you play LSU, Missouri, at Texas, and Auburn before you get another bye week to finish with Kentucky and Tennessee. If you don't get that Va-Tech game, I think the win total's out. That 4.5 ain't happening, dog. And it's early on in the season. it's before you do, like, it's part of back-to-back road games. So for Vandy, I went with Vatek. I think that's a pivotal game early on in the season that Vandy needs. And then Mississippi State, same week, man. I think there's not a lot of wins on this schedule. If you can get the Arizona State game, that is huge, because you've got a team that has so much returning production, is the darling of the Big 12 coming into the year because of how they played last year. People are riding high on Kenny Dillingham and Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson. But if you're Mississippi State and you're Jeff Lebby and you manage to just kind of, boop, we'll take that. We'll steal that game. I think that's huge for your program. Because with that win, you could potentially hit the over on your win total. You beat Alcorn State, you beat Northern Illinois, you beat at Southern Miss. If you go 4-0 in September, look out for the Bulldogs, man, before you lose your last 8 in a row. So yeah, I went with Arizona State for the Mississippi State game. I think that's huge. I'm not saying they'll win it, but I think it's a pivotal game. I think it's the most pivotal game on Mississippi State's schedule. It's Arizona State.
Well, we are going to see in only a month's time. I know, for all the listeners out there, if you guys have differing opinions, man, make sure you reach out to us on all social media platforms at Chatt It Up Sports. We want to hear from you, because I think that we made some pretty solid picks. I think the boys are going to agree that we made some solid picks, but what do you think? And we want to touch on one more topic before we call it a show, and it's a team that we just talked about. University of Memphis, UAM, representing down there in Memphis, Tennessee, supposedly made a $200 million bid to join the Big 12 Conference, but were swiftly denied. And Joseph, as our college football analyst, as someone who loves the game more than the game loves him, man.
Yeah, that's true.
So, talk to me a little bit about the decision making, the details. Supposedly there was some FedEx money. There was a lot going on. Like, talk to us about this, Brian.
Yeah, so according to some reports by I think I was reading Ross Dellinger's earlier from Yahoo Sports, Memphis has gotten some lucrative sponsors from FedEx and and Lowe's. So they've kind of ponied up some money, and they've been looking to join a power conference. Yeah. I know a few years ago they tried to join the ACC. I don't remember exactly what happened, but that ultimately didn't happen. So this time they went after the Big 12, man. And it looks like the Big 12 presidents were the reason that this fell apart. So according to the report, most of the Big 12 presidents were not in favor. And we talked about it earlier in the show. We're kind of like, we were sitting there thinking about it. We're like, why would you kind of turn that down? Like, Memphis is kind of I don't want to say a sleeping giant, but they have potential to be a pretty good program. They're a pretty good spot. Like, but then it kind of dawned on me, like the light bulb went off. It's like, oh, this comes down to media rights money. Because if you're the Big 12 and you're a member institution, you're taking a piece of that pie of the Big 12 media rights deal, which is already lesser than the Big 10 and the SEC. So you're getting less money than those other two conferences. And if you bring in Memphis, you add another member institution. But how much value are you adding to that media rights deal? Are you moving the needle enough to attract a network that's willing to spend enough money to up the amount of money that you're going to make? Because moving from 16 to 17 teams, your piece of the pie is going to get smaller unless that pie gets a lot bigger. And unfortunately, Memphis just doesn't have that kind of pull in college football. So I think ultimately that's why the Big 12 presidents rejected this offer, even though it is a lot of money for the Big 12. I think in the long term, they saw it as something that might end up putting them even further behind the 8 ball. That is the Big 10 and the SEC.
Yeah, for sure.
So while it might suck as a pure college football fan, it might suck because it was like, hey, Memphis in a power conference, that'd be kind of cool. That could be good for Memphis. That'd be good for the school. It could make the Big 12 even more interesting. fiscally, I don't know if it makes sense for the Big 12. So, in the land and world that we live in, where schools are moving around and conference realignment's a thing, we finally didn't have a team move around in Memphis. Memphis is still looking for their home in a power conference. So,
And I like Memphis, man. I
yeah,
do, and it's a good program. I just don't know what they're gonna do, and no, it's gonna be interesting. It's to say the least. It's gonna be interesting to say uh, what they do and how they do it, and I don't know what conference they're gonna go to. I really don't. When I look at it, I do not know what conference that they would go to. So I mean, maybe it. Talk to me about the Pac-12. Could that be an option? I mean, but they're not considered a power conference.
in their current state, no. And with the new member institutions that they're going to have, I don't think that's going to elevate them to power conference status. So, if you're Memphis, the Pac 12 probably feels like more of a lateral move
Yeah,
than it does a vertical move. Because
sure.
it's like, well, we could go to the Pac 12 and we'd have the Pac 12 name attached, but then we'd have to travel to the West Coast to play all these teams. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because of the regionality of the conference they're in currently. I just don't think it's enough of a pull for Memphis to want to go to the Pac-12. And from what I read, they had already turned down the Pac-12.
Yeah,
They'd already turned
that's
down the
what I
new
heard.
look Pac-12, not the old Pac-12. From what I understand. Now, if I'm wrong about that, somebody correct me. But
No, no. I mean, we will see what happens with Memphis. I do think these conversations are ongoing, and
mhm.
it's been a great episode. I do want to give just a dedication, man. This episode, of course, is always brought to you by our sponsors, but this episode is specifically dedicated to Corey Adams, man, the 18-year-old that was tragically killed in Memphis this past weekend. That was a member, a freshman of the Ole Miss football team. He had a lot of life to live and was unfortunately in the wrong place at the wrong time. So, to Corey's family, the Adams family, as well as the entire Ole Miss football program and his school back in New Orleans, just truly, sending our condolences his way, and just be kind, and let's just keep them uplifted and prayed for. And Jay, on some happier things, man, I appreciate you for rocking with me, man. I think we definitely did our thing tonight. And for our brothers, man, I'm talking Chase Green, who is being Dad of the Year, holding it down for Garrett Tolley, who is currently in Memphis and being also a great husband and dad. And we got Big Drew, recovering from wisdom teeth surgery, man, probably getting ready to give us some great takes. And last but not least, I could probably announce it. Was it North Alabama's new hitting coach?
North Alabama, baby.
Mr. Greg Larnard, man, we could not be prouder of you. And the Chatt It Up crew is slowly but surely building and growing. We got a lot of stuff coming this week. Some things we're going to be announcing, some things that we're going to be adding, some compliments. So definitely like and subscribe on all platforms at Chatt It Up Sports. Again, Bear is refinishing as well as Steel City Brands. We are truly thankful for you, the listeners, man. Appreciate y'all. This has been another episode of Chatt It Up Sports. Follow us on all platforms. It's your boy Malcolm Miggie Harris and Joseph Guthrie. Peace and love. We're out of here, man.